Welcome to Center Heist Productions. This is September 14th, a couple hours after the first rookie game of the weekend on the 14th, with the Leafs coming into Montreal to face the Habs rookies. So first, please, if you could, hit the likes and subscribe down below in your right-hand corner. Muchly appreciated. And please don't forget to do it. We're trying to grow the channel, and I know the majority are not hitting it. It would be a big help if you would, just to as we try to progress this. This is where you get straight up uh, info and insight into the Habs. And yeah, as the title says, this is going to give us some takeaways from today's game, which was on at 1 o'clock Eastern. And yeah, so let's get right to it. The positives, the negatives of this game, um, who come out looking like the guys that we can put a leading edge on. So, as we got into this game, it wasn't long before Florian dropped the gloves, and he did okay, but he might want to take a few lessons. I would say, I love the fighting thing. However, and he did win it clearly, but you can tell he was getting popped a few times himself there. But he did send the message early on. However, now we're going to talk more on him as well in this episode, because there's positives and negatives. That was his big positive. After that, he kind of was non-effective. So it was kind of, I expected more out of him in this game and didn't see it. So I was expecting him to be a dark horse. I think he needs a year in Laval from what I'm seeing. Mind you, this is game one of the rookie camp. Um, Next, we're going to talk about number one, clear out. We look at our forward group. For me, now, mind you, there's more, we got to see tomorrow's game, and we will have to see if some of these guys get a shot at training camp, which I'm sure a few of them are going to. But anyway, in my total opinion of what I've seen today, there's not a forward on this team that is going to make it to the Montreal Canadiens this year. Don't see it. Not they may as the season goes on, but not from start off. I cannot see anybody in this squad that is ready to push someone out of their job yet. I'm sorry to say that. There's some pluses and negatives. A couple of them. I know we were keeping our eye on Florian. We were keeping our eye on Beck. We were keeping our eye on Meshar. Um, and there's a lot of disappointment in my regards for our offensive players. There's definitely time needed, but there was a bright spot. Um, but anyhow, now Beck, what I found with Beck and but Beck and Heineman is the other one that was on that list to keep an eye open for. Unfortunately, they were probably the two leaders that I've seen in today's game. Unfortunately, it would have been nice if they would have done it the whole game long, because they started getting some chemistry. If the rest of their game would have been as strong as their third period together, I would have probably had more of a different impression. But even at that, I can't see anybody pushing Evans out. And we're looking at the fourth line in Montreal. I can't see anybody pushing Pizzetta out. I can't see, and of course, unfortunately, I mean, I've got Josh Anderson in the fourth line. I know they're going to probably try him higher. I just don't think he's worthy. But you're not going to push him out where he's a veteran. So right now, these guys got to go to Laval. Disappointments and stuff, we'll speak more on. Beginning of the game, Farrell looked okay. He had some brighter spots. Game went on. It's as I've been saying about Farrell. This guy's not going to make the team at any point. I'm sorry to say that. He's. I noticed something in the game. He was actually even getting hit by his own players. It was like collisions. happened to him a couple times in the game. So he's like a sack of potatoes. He really does remind me of Charles Houdon. And he's got talent, but sorry, he could not, he didn't make a difference in this game whatsoever. He came out looking like he was going to put a good foot forward. And I hate to say there's no doubt, no one's questioning his talent. He just cannot compete with these guys at this level. Even at this level, he's outplayed. He just went downwards, and it was amazing because my disappointment with the other two on his line, which was Beck and Heineman, was they didn't start off well. Those two. But they started gain. You could see them improving in period two, and then they just really cranked it up in period three. They looked like they should have looked the whole game, and that's consistency, and that is my knock against them. I'm sorry. That was the best we've seen out of them in the game, and people can go nuts because Beck scores a goal and da 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 da. It's not enough. When you get to the NHL level, even when training camp starts, you're going to notice very quickly, I'm sure of it. I mean, now, mind you, let's hope maybe this gets better as it goes on. We got to give them the benefit of the doubt for training camp. And again, it's not a future knock for Beck and uh, Heineman. Other than Heineman, for me, this is kind of his last hurrah, in my opinion, uh, because this is shot three. Beck is getting close too in that regard. So these are two guys that should be cracking the lineup in the nearest future of all the prospects. So they got to watch the clock. I mean, everybody can get excited because Beck scored a goal. It's how solid did he play in the game? There was nothing out there that tells me he could knock somebody, as I just said, out of Montreal's lineup and take their spot. Now, with Harvey Pinard gone, there's a possibility. To me, there's a door open there. And I'd have to say, out of this game, those two lead in somewhat of a regard. Except, I'm going to go to the defense because I'm going to bring up the most positive point at the very end of it's going to be surprising. Maybe I'll go do it now. We're going to talk about who is the real shocker for me. Now, he's not going to make the team because we just drafted him. Thorpe. This guy will make the team in the future. For me, he was the best forward Montreal's rookie in that game today. He had the physical aspect of the game. He was dangerous. He had the battle in him. He had a bit of everything. Pleasant surprise. I wouldn't even have dreamt it. But for me, that was our number one forward. Sorry to say that. Um, Shock people. But is he ready for Montreal? No. No, I mean, this is his first camp. But I tip my hat off up to him because just for the simple fact that now the rest of the team, the forwards in that group, could look at this guy and just see, and then unfortunately, he got a pretty good open ice hit there in the third period where it cut his face open. But I think it was a clean hit. Just caught him off guard. He got smoked. But that's his game. You could tell he was always in the mix. And that's what I like to see from a kid. This guy is going to be a good piece in the lower six. Uh, Maybe your fourth line, third line. I'd say fourth line. He definite. I would like him on the fourth line only just for the fact you want that to be your tough line, and he fits beautifully. And I can definitely see him. He's going to win a spot, and it could be next season. It won't be this year because he needs a little more experience under his belt. But I'll tell you what, he was definitely someone that entire forward group should be looking at because that's the type of hockey you need to play. And it was a shame he had to go out to get stitched up. As you could see, his nose got pretty cut wide open. But he had a solid game. This kid really pleasantly surprised me. Very impressed. Very, very, very impressed. He's got a good future. And then we go to the defense. Well, we all knew on this team that the two that we all kind of have been pointing to has been Hudson and Mayu as being the real threats, because our defense is up in the air. Well, yeah, this game by far the best player in the game, the on our team today, the baby Habs, whatever you want to call them, the rookies. No doubt, hands down, Hudson was definitely by far. Yes, he made a mistake on the third goal, but that was also the goaltender's mistake, and then we're going to talk about that as well. It was the power play goal. So yes, we definitely can see that he probably won't be a part of penalty killing. However, it wasn't all on him because that goaltender was just not looking good at all. Richard, just I'm sorry to say, but that was his only mistake I seen, like anything big. But he was by far their best player. So he's definitely, I honestly see him and Mayu had a strong game as well, and they looked good together. Um, yeah, they looked pretty solid. Good to see Mayu with the captaincy. I think those two are really going to push for a spot. But there was another pleasant surprise on defense too. Unfortunately, Reinbacher settled down. His early going was real shaky. He did settle down, but there's a couple of uh, breaks he allowed, which he can't do that in the NHL. So to me, he needs to go to Laval. That's only game one, however. Remember that. For all of these guys, they could shock us and pick up the pace in tomorrow's game. And if they get invited to training camp, and they're just really going to have to work harder. But for me, just with the one game view, Reinbacher should spend some time in Laval and just correct those couple of spots because, yeah, he can't have those happening, and he's got speed. There's no excuse. I think he needs to put on some muscle though. Needs to thicken because he didn't seem for a big fella. He didn't seem to have enough grit, like enough force. Just seemed like his hits were very soft. So I think that to me from it's because he's so lean. So I think if he gains some body weight, that'll change. But right at this moment, after just one game, I was a little slightly. It's not so much disappointment, but I foresee him needing to at least start in Laval. The two pleasant. Mentioned the forward shining star for me was Thorpe, and now I'm going to mention the defensive player Adam Enstrom. Shocked the hell even out of me. We knew that he had, there was great talk about him, but we never really got that much. We haven't seen that much of him overall. And wow, he had some shaky moments early on, but boy, did he pull it together, and he looked like a veteran out there with Mayu and Hudson. I say they and that prof fella, he's going to be fine. He just needs. He's only been drafted this year. He'll be fine. He's definitely looks like something to keep an eye on for the future. He's got a grit to him, and there's one fellow I can't mention his name. He's in the forward group though, Meskim or whatever. He's got a nice grit to him too. But what a pleasant surprise, Adam Enstrom. That goal that he got, the first goal, just gorgeous, and he showed grit. He was winning his battles. Came on as and became crucial for them as the game went on. He became one of their more solid performers in the back end. So those three, I'm telling you, he may surprise us. We were expecting all of us, I think, as Habs fans, Hudson and Mayu to be the front runners, and yes, they looked fine and look like they will be. They'll be competing for a spot, if not on the Habs team. But now I'd have to say, after seeing Adam Enstrom, he keeps playing that way, he'll be in the mix too, and that's going to complicate things because wow, I like what I see out of this kid. He just looked like he just looks like he belongs. Just very pleasant surprise. Now, goaltending out atrocious. Richard, did not look like he should be there. I looked like a kid, a 2-year-old with a beach ball could have blasted put a beach ball past him. And I think that was the difference in this game, to be honest. Um, that Toronto rookie goaltender, Hedgelum or whatever. I know I'm not remembering it correctly. He won the game for Toronto. He was the difference, and it just shows you goaltending does make a difference. And this is a concerning situation when that's probably why the Habs still have their eyes open for a goaltender because they do see Fowler and possibly the Russian goaltender and Dobish, and we don't even know because they have not played at the NHL level. That's the problem. That's why Montreal's probably still looking. But if you look at that, Richard, boy, he was brutal to watch. Just down far too many times. And like I say, even that Lane Hudson, when that goal that I did hold Hudson partial, that third goal that I held, Hudson was part. Made a mistake on that, but Richard should have had that shot. At the same token, it was an easy shot, and it wasn't the only time he did it. Just a couple. The goals were soft, and even that winning goal, the shootout, he just did not look like he belonged whatsoever. I hope they have another answer because I sure hope there's a different goaltender in the net because that Toronto goaltender looked great, and we outshot them, and we were really. There's no doubt in my mind you had that guy in our net and reverse had Richard over the other end, we would have destroyed them because we had a pretty good amount of pressure on them. Thank you. Um, and so, with that being said, um, yeah, I just think our goaltending was the biggest reason we lost. Now, we had some shaky moments here and there in the early going, but we came together. We started picking up momentum in the second and third period. In the third period, we were all over them. We looked like we had our game, much more so. So there were great positives, but to me, those are the three guys right now that I foresee, and they're all defensemen. Well, we know it's Hudson, to me, is making the Habs. Um, I see Mayu making the Habs. I Now Enstrom, he's going to push, and I can't count him out because he looked damn good today. And I wouldn't be one damn bit surprised if he pushes for a spot as well, and is in the mix in training camp for sure. At least to get the, have that all three of those guys are going to be in the regular training camp. But the forwards, you'll probably have Beck and Heineman. I don't know how Sean Farrell could be asked, and Massar for me. Well, Farrell, he's got the issue of size, but Massar, I'm so disappointed in him right now that I can't even go. I just don't see it. I don't see. I see a problem with our forward group, even though I think this year's draft will be a big help. Thank God, because what I'm seeing on that team, I'm not overly optimistic with guys that could make the team in the future. I honestly see it as Thorpe, maybe Heineman, maybe Beck. And I was disappointed, like I said. I was happy that Jack Eye came out ready to and send a message. Rest of his game, I wasn't impressed. And I find that it's hard for me to say that, but he's definitely not ready for the NHL at this point. So unless, of course, things change as it goes. So with that being said, we were always behind the eight ball in this game. We're always down a goal. We were trying to come from behind, and we put it. It went into a shootout. Like I said, overtime, then a shootout, and they won it in a shootout. So good that they pushed to that limit, but my God, if you don't put another goaltender in the net, because that guy just does not belong at this camp. Sorry to say, he just doesn't belong. Not unless he was having a bad night and shows something different. But I can't see it. This guy just does not belong. So anyway, with that being said, Leafs win game one. We'll watch tomorrow and see what happens there. But pleasant surprise. I am convinced that Thorpe will be on that Montreal Canadiens team in the future. Won't be this year, but him and Enstrom were the pleasant surprises. Hudson by far was the best player, hands down. And then I'd say Mayu uh, and Thorpe. Thorpe he was my player actually of the game just for the fact that he was not expected to be, other than Hudson. Hudson was obvious. Definitely the best player by far. But Thorpe, for the offensive group, they all need to take a look at him. So you've seen it here first at Center Heights Productions. And we got, like I said, what I'm seeing, there's only three guys on that forward group that I'm not even, there's the rest of them, I'm just not seeing it. Like, there's just clear things missing, like even, yeah, anybody else in that forward group, Tuck included, mm, unless there's something more they got. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Their chances are slipping. But anyway, with that being said, thank you for joining me. Please hit the likes and subscribe. Very crucial. Leave your comments. Tell me what you thought of the game. I was just a little bit disappointed with the goaltending I was disgusted with. And I just want to see more consistency from our kids. If they had to start played that way in the third, like they did in the third, they would have won that game. But the goaltender would have made a difference too. So we need a goaltender in the net. But good positives. Like I said, Hudson looked great. Just swift moves. Beautiful place. He's just so slippery and intelligent. His IQ created a lot of plays, and Mayu looked good joining into plays and brought good leadership there. And again, Adam Enstrom, he just looks like a veteran out there. He was a pleasant surprise, and like I say, for Thorpe, he won't make the team this year, but keeps playing like that. This kid's going to be there next year for sure. I'm positive, but right now I don't see anybody pushing in the forward group at all, and that includes Beck and Heineman, who probably have the best chance. I don't I don't think it's going to happen unless they crank it up and show consistency for an entire game. Great third period, the both of them have, but they got to have more than just a good third period. So thank you for joining me. You've seen it here at Center Heights. Hit the like, subscribe, tell your friends, share it, and God bless. Go Habs, go. Let's hope we win tomorrow.